and I'm about to head on the road to go back to school, so I have to make it quickly. So if my thoughts aren't fully coherent, that is why, but I am going to get this video out. Now, there's this television show that comes on, I don't know what network it comes on, but it comes on one of the networks. You've heard of the television show. It's called Blackish, and Blackish decided to do an episode on colorism. Now, if you do not know anything about me, know that I am very vocal when it comes to colorism. I am about fighting colorism. I don't even know if colorism has a solution. It's something that's so rooted in the Black community and in the world that it's so hard to fix. So I don't know, but I'd love to have the conversations about colorism and like talk about what role colorism plays in like our day-to-day life, because I think colorism is literally a byproduct of racism. You have racism and then a branch to colorism. It's the same thing. So the same way racism plays a huge role in our life, colorism plays that exact same role. So Blackish decided to do an episode where they discussed colorism, and kudos to them for doing an episode to tackle colorism, but it was done very poorly, like very poorly. Like the people who write that show should honestly be ashamed of themselves. I don't know why. It was very palatable. It was a palatable discussion about colorism, but colorism is not a palatable discussion. If someone does not leave the colorism discussion upset or offended or uncomfortable, then the conversation was not productive. Colorism is something that shouldn't sit well in people's mouth. Like, you should really feel a wave once you really break down what colorism is, because that's how deep it is. People benefit from colorism and don't even understand that they benefit from colorism. So Blackish does the episode, and the best way to sum up the episode is basically light skin tears. All I saw was a bunch of light skin tears. Now, a big thing within the conversation of colorism is that light-skinned people feel like they can be victims of colorism, or that they experience colorism. Let me break this down. Light-skinned people, you guys do experience colorism. You guys experience colorism. You want to know how you experience colorism? This is how. You are the sole beneficiary of colorism. Colorism does not exist unless you are benefiting from it. If you guys are being victimized, like you guys like to claim you are, then there wouldn't be colorism, because in no way, shape, or form can dark-skinned people benefit from colorism. In no way. Therefore, if you are not benefiting from colorism, then there wouldn't be a colorism. It would just be equality. There is no situation where a dark...
Now, as someone who has grown up in a predominantly Black neighborhood, went to a predominantly Black schools, and grew up in a Black household, what she is saying is absolutely lies and bullshit. Not only did I and my sister have to watch out for the neighborhood girls, I had to watch out for my own relatives who hated on me for a reason that I did not understand at the time. Me and my cousin used to literally run home from school until my relatives intervened and straightened that situation out, if you know what I mean. But when you are young, you don't know what the hell colorism is, or that you are even considered better or more appealing than your darker counterparts, because it is usually not pointed out. It wasn't until high school that I even became aware that girls had a problem with me being light-skinned. You know, oh, she thinks she's the shit because she's light-skinned, and he only like you because you got good hair, and blah, blah, blah. You learn in high school that there's no Black sisterhood, but y'all know who hated me the most? Older Black women. So I don't know, where do they get this, that older Black women put lighter kids with light eyes on this pedestal. And even when it was pointed out that these women didn't like me for my complexion, I still refuse to believe it. Like most light-skinned women, because in my mind, I'm simply just Black like them. I never separated myself from them because I thought we were all the same, but I guess not.
In no way, shape, or form can dark-skinned people benefit from colorism. In no way. Therefore, if you are not benefiting from colorism, then there wouldn't be a colorism. It would just be equality. There is no situation where a darker skinned person has been levitated higher than a light skinned person on the basis of colorism. Colorism is not the reason why a dark skinned person is put ahead of you. The whole basis of colorism is the fact that lighter skinned people are put higher than darker skinned people, period. Now, there's this conversation that a lot of people think that colorism is rooted in like slavery times, and that's kind of a myth that people think, oh, well, the darker skinned people were outside in the fields and the lighter skinned people were in the house, so that's where like colorism comes in. And that's not necessarily true, like at all. I don't think, like, I'm sure there's some basis there, but that's not really entirely true. It's just not, because even in Africa, there's colorism, and they didn't have, like, even in places in Africa where slavery wasn't even a thing, they still have colorist systems. So that wouldn't make any sense. Simply put,
now she is saying that slavery was not a thing in Africa, when that is simply not true. Our ancestors were literally captured by other African tribes and handed to the higher ups to be sold off by Europeans. Africans will literally tell you this themselves. The slave trade would not have been able to flourish without their help. That was the same thing that I was told when I visited Ghana and Senegal and Sierra Leone. Also, it is an absolute lie that only light-skinned people were house slaves, and most of the lighter people that were only allowed in the house was because they were actually related to the slave master, but they were still subjected to abuse as the field slaves, and sometimes worse because they were right up under them most of the time. I also want to discuss this video of Chrissie asking, why do light-skinned women stay in the Black community if we are being abused?
About dark-skinned women who are physically and emotionally abusing light-skinned women. And I'm not saying it does not happen at all, but it's being spoken of as if it's some raging epidemic. And if it is, then I have to ask the question, if dark-skinned women are so abusive, then why do light-skinned women stay around them? Why do they always want to be in our spaces? Like, why are they around us? And, you know, some of these women, they're not just saying it's dark-skinned women abusing them. They're saying that Black people are abusing them. And, you know, again, not saying that it's not happening, but if they're so abusive, if Black people are so abusive to light-skinned women, why are you around them? Why do you date them? Furthermore, when it comes to abuse, you know, I'm quite sure that Black men are abusing light-skinned women more than dark-skinned women. I'm pretty sure they're far more dangerous to light-skinned women than dark-skinned women. So, you know, if you're getting abused that badly, then where are the videos calling out Black men for their abuse? If the abuse of light-skinned women is that important to light-skinned women, then why are there more videos from light-skinned women about dark-skinned women and what we're doing, as opposed to videos about abusive Black men? And I mean, these are serious questions, because this is serious. You know, we're talking about abuse here. You know, and it just seems that if you guys were being so abused by Black men and dark-skinned women, that you'd be trying to stay away from us instead of creating entire channels to do videos complaining about Chrissie, you know, and the dark-skinned women over here who are putting our image first. Like, it's weird.
Well, first of all, we are Black. We have Black relatives. And when we talk about our experiences, most dark-skinned women, such as herself, will become aggressive and combative and start playing the victim. And when we decide to only hang around each other or non-Black people, here y'all come calling us self-haters and accusing us of being colorists. They need to be asking themselves, why does our presence offend them so much? They are always complaining about Black men bashing them, but then they turn around and do it to us.
Light-skinned women are saviors of dark-skinned women at all. I think they use dark-skinned women to their advantage to get where they want to go. And, you know, I'm not necessarily faulting them for that. I think everybody uses other people for their personal gain. That's like a human thing. But what I have a problem with is light-skinned women online in particular pretending that that isn't what they're doing and playing the victim, you know, and pretending that somehow their success and them being placed on a pedestal is trickling down to dark-skinned women, or acting like they're taking dark-skinned women with them to the moon, or them being represented is greatly improving our image when they're successful or when they're being promoted. That's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening. And listen, if light-skinned women are like being the saviors of the black race, if they feel like they're cheating themselves and not taking full advantage of their privilege, cool. I agree. I can agree with that. But who does it benefit? Does that benefit dark-skinned women for light-skinned women to be a savior of the black race, or does that benefit black men? See, y'all got it wrong. They're not being saviors for dark-skinned women. They're being saviors for black men. I want you guys to give me a list. Give me a list of advancements that dark-skinned black women specifically have made because of light-skinned women in the last 10 or 20 years. I'm not talking about slavery, slavery days where mixed people, light-skinned people were forced to identify with black people, and therefore they use their privilege to fight for black people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about recently. What are you doing for dark-skinned women? But how are you saving them? How are you helping them? And again, I'm not saying individually. Some light-skinned women help individual dark-skinned women. So, this is not me saying that we never get help from them, or light-skinned women never take any of us with them. Like, I did watch the Beyonce documentary on Netflix. It was so good. Y'all know I love me some Beyonce, but I noticed that Beyonce does have she does feature a lot of dark-skinned female dancers. I'm not talking about helping on an individual level. Yes, certain light-skinned women in entertainment do take dark-skinned women along with them when they can. But even, using Beyonce as an example, what is she losing? How is she being oppressed by dark-skinned women? Well, how are dark-skinned women oppressing Beyonce? How are they doing that? Are they dimming her light just because she brings, some dark-skinned women on the stage to dance with her? She's still queen. She's still the star. She's still the center of attention. So this idea that, the collective of light-skinned women are helping dark-skinned women and being a savior for them and being oppressed by them, and their light is so dimmed by the evil dark-skinned woman. Come on. I mean, y'all are just exaggerating, all because you're bothered by this new surge of dark-skinned female empowerment. It makes you uncomfortable and you just don't want to say that, so you're painting these false narratives, or you're exaggerating. And it looks pathetic, you guys. It looks pathetic. And again, listen, if you say, hey, light-skinned women need to stop trying to save the black race, fine. But don't act like they've actually saved or helped dark-skinned women collectively in some impactful way, because they haven't. We, dark-skinned women, have actually helped make their image popular. And we've helped them reach success way more than the other way around. And that's facts. That's facts. And I actually heard a light-skinned woman say, she said, since dark...
Now, I don't know any light-skinned woman that has used dark-skinned women for anything, especially in the entertainment industry. How can you say we are using you, but in the same breath, you claim to have nothing? In the 90s, when dark-skinned women like Brandy and Lil' Kim and models like Naomi Campbell were dominating, I'm sure they didn't stop to think about all of the light-skinned and biracial women who were missing in action. Also, some people don't know, but when Destiny's Child broke up and the girls went solo, Kelly was actually on a fast pace to stardom before Beyonce. She even won a Grammy before her with the song she did with Nelly. It is not our jobs to try and force black men or any other group of men to like and be attracted to dark-skinned women. Why are you even expecting so much from a group of women you claim to not see yourself in, and you practically have no respect for unless you can benefit? And as a light-skinned woman that likes to protect her femininity, I am not a boss to play savior for anyone that isn't family or a child. Dark-skinned women seem to expect so much from us, but not the white men they claim to love and respect. Kind of like Issa Rae throwing Lauren London under the bus, but not the white men in control. Now look, at the end of the day, this shit goes both ways. one group of women just cry and complain about their position while verbally attacking the group they feel have a higher position than them. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.